The Todd Shapiro Show, Canada Laughs, SiriusXM 168.
And then the other thing I always like to do, because you can't laugh all the time, folks, that's just not realistic, is I like to learn. And that's literally my theory in life. I'm so bored by everything in this world if I'm not laughing or learning. Like I literally, if I'm not compelled in that way and engaged in a conversation, I just tune people right out. And this guy's going to hopefully help us learn. Jeff Stevens is back here from Datametrex.com. How you doing, Jeff? How you doing, man?
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me back.
Good.
Hopefully I don't put you to sleep.
Well, I mean, you're. It's funny because you're up and you're going, but you just had a big trip. You were in Seoul, weren't you?
Yeah, we were in Korea and Seoul for a week. We've had a couple trips there. Representatives from the country. From our company going over there. We signed some LOIs with some big.
Remind us again, LOIs. You taught us last time.
Yeah. So letter of intents. So
okay.
It's just that beginning phase of a business relationship, and then you do your due diligence, and then move it to that next phase, being a definitive agreement where you work together.
They should do that in dating. Like it's a letter of intent, to marry you. Yeah. And but if it doesn't, we'll figure out each other. And if it doesn't go well, we just end things amicably. It's like we had this. It's before the prenup. It's like the agreement to say, hey, we're all in now, or it's like, it didn't work out. Is that what an LOI is?
You got to work your terms and conditions out.
We could really learn from this, actually. So that's very exciting. I guess, Datametrex.com, and we learned a little bit about it last time you were here. I know that it collects data and all different sort of from your point of sale systems and stuff. And also you acquired Nexology.com. Can you describe what Nexology is for us?
Yeah, so Nexology is a company that's got an artificial intelligence tool set that collects data from SNS, so from social media, and removes all the spam, all the robots, and provides corporations and government agencies with business intelligence information that they can use to their benefit. And
it's interesting because here, your company's based in Toronto, but this is like now everything's global. So that's why you're down there in Seoul. And Seoul, from what I understand, that's like kind of the blockchain capital of the world right now. Is that fair to say? Like I keep hearing those sort of the synergies there for the two.
Yeah, I think we've had a shift on the blockchain side with the crypto mining and those exchanges. A lot of them were in China, and then I think China sort of shut things down on the exchange side. And then a lot of those crypto exchanges went and opened up in Seoul and in Japan. The mining still happens predominantly, I believe, in China. There's still about 80% of the crypto mining that happens there. But the exchanges themselves, I think, are what moved over to those other countries.
All of it's so fascinating. Kyle's here and Shay's here, and Kyle's in his 30s, Shay's in his 20s, I'm in my 40s, and really, we speak to, I don't want to say the average Joe. It's not like people are just average and stuff, but we don't necessarily speak to the Bay Streets or the Wall Streets, or the investors, and I know your stock symbol's DM on the Toronto Venture Exchange, and I always like to sort of just open people's eyes up to all this stuff. I day trade on the side, and not necessarily just about your company, but the buzzwords you hear in these industries, right? Blockchain, AI. A year ago was the weed companies. I think there's still money to be made there. So I just have these guys to kind of ask questions just about the business side of this, because this is like, if we speak to our core, this is what guys want to do. They want to get involved on other ways. They want to maybe make a little bit extra money. They want to invest in growing companies, and I think it's super important. Che, you know a little bit about blockchain, right?
A little bit. Well, like the idea of like cryptocurrency, or just.
But, I mean, do you have any just sort
of I guess my biggest question is about is is there actual chance that we're going to be using cryptocurrency in like real funds? Like, is there a chance of it overtaking our current form of money?
That's a pretty loaded question. I'm certainly not the expert on that, but my opinion on that would be that as things move forward, it becomes more mainstream. And the opportunity to see that happen, Bitcoin itself has become very mainstream, and I think as things progress and governments take it seriously, just recently, Todd, you sent me a link on President Trump announcing that they're going to spend money in their next budget to explore blockchain, and I think their fear and concern is the cryptocurrency side of it more than the blockchain side of it, because it's decentralized and it effectively takes control and power away from countries using their currency as leverage. So I see that happening coming, and I'm not sure how governments and countries are going to handle that situation. But I think the train's left the station. It's too late to stop it. So it's just a matter of how it works with the current systems and how that gets integrated.
And what's the thing that's going to turn it? Like, what's the thing that's going to turn the scale of making it like the businesses and everyone to start accepting cryptocurrency?
Well, if I knew that, I wouldn't tell you. I'd write a book afterwards. You guys could come see my conferences. No,
it's it's a very interesting time. Your Datametrex is a part of Cantech that's going to be in Toronto, right? And Cantech, is that sort of where you deal with all this kind of stuff, from blockchain to AI to cryptos, and everyone is still kind of learning it together, even sort of the big business side to the naive kind of investor.
Yeah, for sure. So Cantech, it's their 5th year of this conference. It's the largest technology conference in Toronto. It's on January 31st. We're going to have a booth there, and if we're able to, if the schedules work, we'll try and get Claude, who's the president of Nexology, to speak on one of the panels, because he's really in-depth and really knowledgeable guy on artificial intelligence, and would add a lot of value, and it would be great for our company to be able to present that. So hopefully his schedule will work for that.
And as you're growing the business, what are some of the goals for Datametrex?
Yeah, great question. We continue to add shareholder value. That's our biggest, as a public company, we're always trying to be transparent with our shareholders, being on shows like your talk show and 80/20 Connect, and just really talking to our shareholder base. And growth is organic and through acquisitions. We look at it and see a lot of opportunity to use our expertise as finance guys to structure deals and bring in operational teams that can, the focus has always been to have multiple verticals of technology that can stand alone, but also complement each other. And so that's sort of how we see things going forward.
And what's the type of client that might reach out to you right now?
That's a great question. Because we're a public company, I can't really talk about stuff like that if it's in the pipeline. But we're focused on corporations and government agencies.
Sure.
And utilizing, on Nexology, utilizing those tool sets to help give them business intelligence and insights so that they can make better decisions and be profitable. And
that's ultimately what it is. Data is everything in this world, right? You want to know who your audience is, who your consumer is, and then sort of how you can make sure that you're catering to their needs. Yeah. And while it's, I guess, it's interesting because some people, I think, Jeff, find this a bit invasive a little bit. I think there's still the elder, like, oh, I want to wear a tinfoil hat and that stuff. But at the end of the day, and this is kind of how I lead my life, and I think, I don't know if it's necessarily the right advice to give, but it's not like Big Brother stuff or anything, but kind of live your life knowing that anytime you go online, you're putting out all your information there. And people, I think, just need to accept that. It is a very open world in that way. As small as this world is in terms of you could be in your little basement, you're now sharing everything with everyone freely. You're signing up for apps and you're saying, yes, I approve to use this and to go and get into my photos. Like that, the agreements are, and I think that's an okay thing, knowing that because it's protected and it's used wisely, I would hope.
Yeah, I think so. And my opinion on that is every generation sort of changes, and I think like my children are 11 and 14, and I think they won't even consider privacy issues, quite frankly, because they've grown up with social media. And so for them, they're not ever going to say, oh my gosh, that's an invasion of my privacy. It's just, this is what they've grown up with.
They've put everything out. Yeah, my dad will freak out at me. Sorry to interrupt. Don't post pictures of the cottage. We don't want people knowing where the cottage is. I'm like, well, there's a lot of fucking lakes, but it's okay. But it is that you're right. It's a very generational thing.
Yeah, so I see that as being less of an issue, people recognizing what's private and what's not. And if you want privacy, close your curtains and do it in your house, right? Like if you're doing anything on social media, you have to recognize that there's a chance that, people are watching and using it. And that's my personal opinion. That's not a Datametrex or an Nexology opinion. I'm just saying that personally. Sure.
Well, but I also think it's okay because typically you'll then get, with that stuff, and while, it's interesting, but you'll obviously get the ads that pop up that cater to what your interests are and stuff. And I think what's important is to understand it and to know it. And if you're ever running for politics, just know that there's probably something out you that someone has.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, listen, it's working because for whatever reason I keep getting I am Toddy Tickles and the Todd Shapiro show ads on all of my feeds now. So whatever you're doing is working.
Same. I think it's just the people who've been on the show though. We're the demographic. Yeah.
Kyle, you have any questions for Jeff?
I don't know. Like I have a very small, I have some RSPs and then I have tax-free savings account, and I'm watching a friend of mine make exponential amount of money through Bitcoin. Now, has someone in my situation completely missed the opportunity, or is there such as Litecoin? Are we just seeing this as like Bitcoin's going to be the cryptocurrency, or are there going to be other competitors that we're going to see pop up and is it just bound to happen because everyone's going to start buying whatever is at the bottom and then it? goes up.
The big thing that happened recently is that Bitcoin was started changing on the futures exchange, and so that was, I think, what prompted that big run up to $20,000+ Bitcoin's the front runner right now, and they sort of blazed the path. There's others behind it, and again, I don't know how that gets adopted and how it works going forward. We're really excited about it. We don't have a cryptocurrency aspect to our story right now, but we see a lot of potential in that area. We're focused, as we've said before, but maybe just worthwhile talking about it, structured data, collecting retail sales data with our data tap, and then the unstructured data with Nexology's artificial intelligence, and then we have a blockchain company with a joint venture with a California-based company called Bit9. And what we do there is blockchain for technology, and it's really cool stuff. We're gonna have a press release sort of updating on that technology shortly. We just spent the last 2 days with them in our office. They were in from California, so we're excited about what's happening there. And we think there's tremendous opportunity in the space, both blockchain, cryptocurrency, artificial intelligence. It's just the beginning for all of it.
Artificial intelligence. Can you get into like what you guys are doing with that?
Yeah, so that's the Nexology piece. And as I said, we work on sort of going through social media and pulling out weak signals is effectively what it does. So anyone can find what's trending, but it's hard to find what doesn't belong. And then when you can identify what doesn't belong, you can sort of go from there. And that's the value add in what they do. It's really about being able to provide your clients, whether it's government or corporations, that insight on that critical information that allows them to make decisions that better their position.
Yeah. And that's sort of what I asked you earlier about types of clients that can reach out to you. That this would benefit obviously big time marketing companies or new products, and like find out what people not only like about it or dislike about it, but how you can kind of get to those people who are saying different sort of things. And that's what Nexology can do, right?
For sure.
Is sort of find the stuff that you might not uncover right away.
Yeah, and it just sifts through it. There's such a huge amount of data.
Is it an algorithm? Is it like
it's the close? They've got a couple algorithms that have been patented. And they were actually created when
Don't you feel dumb, Kyle?
So dumb. There's the word algorithm already. Yeah.
Well, listen to this. These algorithms were created when he worked at CERN in Switzerland to identify black holes in the galaxy. Right?
What?
So the internet's kind of like a big black hole, and you can utilize that same technology for this purpose. So yeah, we're these guys they're brilliant. They're great guys.
That's
to work
incredible.
with. We're really excited to have them on the team.
Wow.
And, lots of good things.
I would love to meet Claude.
Yeah, I'd love. Well, if we can get them here for the conference, hopefully we can get them early for a Wednesday and we can do a show.
Even a phone call. I feel like we opened up the phone lines earlier, lit up, and that was just to have Pedro tell a story. But like literally lit up, and that was just for Pedro to tell a story of Pedro had a rough day yesterday, and I thought it was important to share because there was a good moral to the end of it all, which is cooler heads prevail. It was a very, but like this stuff, I think I just, I see it intriguing really everyone, and there's a great meme going around right now, and it's maybe not necessarily related to Datametrex and stuff, or even in the investment side of things. By the way, I noticed your stock did pretty well today. Am I allowed saying that?
Okay, it's great. Yeah.
Okay, so I saw that. Like I'm like, what?
We're always happy to talk about the updates.
Yeah. Well, go check out DM. I was like, my goodness, this thing, people should be investing, but and do your due diligence. I just want to put that out there, but. The sort of this mindset, the meme was a woman was sleeping on her bed facing one way and the dude was facing the other, and the woman's leaning over and the bubbles popping up over her head going, I know he's thinking about other women, and then it's him and there's just a cloud and he's thinking, and it's just Bitcoins and dollar signs and stock symbols and stuff, because everyone's looking for a little bit of an extra break, and
Sure.
and there are ways to do it, and we're hearing all these great success stories. So I think to answer your question, I'll answer it, and I'm seeing it with guys doing well in all sorts of businesses, not just crypto, but understanding blockchain and understanding AI and things, and companies that are growing. I think what's important is that there's always opportunity, and just be careful about it, and feel free to Facebook me and stuff, and I can tell you some things I've done, and it's not like I'm a millionaire in any way, but I'm having fun with it, and there's ways to definitely kind of take care of yourself a little bit, and it's fun doing it as long as you play within your means.
It's a great point. I've talked to some friends and I use the OLG tag, know your limit and play within it, because there's a lot of exciting things that are happening, but there's also a lot of high risk stuff happening as well. So when you go out there, just tread lightly.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't take out second mortgages on my house to go buying penny stocks, but I think there's a lot of exciting opportunities out there beyond just our own story, which I think is tremendous. But there's a lot of other ones out there as well, and to your point,
and every day, don't do these And I do it a lot. I do these shoulda, coulda, wouldas. You hear that a lot. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Shoulda been. And that's actually one of my, Jeff Stevens here at Datametrex.com. It's one of my kind of sort of resolutions moving forward in the new year. Everyone has these resolutions. And as stupid as it sounds, so like, I'm super happy with my job. I look pretty good. I don't need to go to the gym. But one of my resolutions is to stop saying shoulda, coulda, woulda, and just be happy what you have, live in the moment, and know that, you know, with careful thought and careful due diligence, there's always future opportunity.
For sure.
It's not just going to be wiped away. So you got any tips? No.
Yesterday you should have bought this. No.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks a lot.
Is there anything like new artificial intelligence, obviously, that you can talk about will be given to like the public, like be a consumer artificial intelligence, something people can use that would be like helping their everyday life?
Geez, that's kind of a loaded question.
Sorry.
Enough of these loaded questions, Shay.
On our end, no, we don't have anything that's sort of going out to the general public in that respect. Everything that we do is purpose built for corporations and government agencies.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there is, like on a general scale, for sure. Like as we see artificial intelligence grow, and you know, there's a shortage of AI engineers globally, and that's the biggest challenge that the industry has right now. But as we see
that and sheet metal workers. No, but that's interesting. There's job, like, you know, for some brilliant minds, there's a lot of job opportunity.
Yeah, and Canada's a hotbed for it. Montreal, Toronto, where, you know, we've got some really, really talented guys, and we're one of the leaders in the world for AI, and we're putting out some really talented engineers on that front too. So, but I think, yeah, you will see it. Like, it's going to change the workforce, and it's changing cars already. We're seeing, you know, self-driving cars. We're seeing, so IoT, AI, all this stuff is happening, and I think the next 20 years are going to be really, really fun. You know, to be a part of.
Frightening a little bit for people. Like, I mean, how do you calm those fears down for people? Is it sort of keeping up with all of it? And that's exactly why I have you on, because I think that's important personally.
I think, you know, as we get older, it's frightening. But if you were to talk again, I bring my children's age group into it. If you talk to young people, it's just what they know and what they see.
Do they talk like this?
They talk like this.
Yeah, they're all on their phone.
They text you, they don't talk to you. No, but I think the reality is, as you get older, you see this happening, and you think, oh, well, where are the jobs going to be? What are people going to do? But the reality is, the younger generation, they adapt to that, and they figure out what to do, as we did when, you know, our parents looked at us and said, oh, what are you going to do? The world's changing. You know, our kids, I think the next generation, they'll adapt to it, and they'll find where they fit into that flow, and there's always opportunity. Like, growth happens.
You hear these crazy sort of stuff where they're like, you know what, you know, Elon Musk will talk about this. Like, you don't got to worry about a nuclear war with North Korea. You got to worry about AI taking over one day and stuff. Like, are those sort of you know, fears that we don't? Is that fear mongering? We don't need to worry about that stuff.
I don't know. We landed in Seoul, and that morning is when they launched that missile. So I was a little bit nervous.
Oh wow!
I was a little bit nervous.
Yeah, you weren't worried so much about the AI soldiers at that point. You're like, no, they're legit.
So when are we getting out of Dodge?
That's frightening.
Did you have fun down there?
We had a fantastic time. Yeah,
I saw on your Facebook. I follow Jeff Stevens on Facebook, and you're eating such eclectic foods. I think what North Americans would consider eclectic. Can you share some of those?
Yeah, for sure. Well, our CEO and chairman Andrew Yu is from Seoul. Grew up in Gangnam, so we were there, and we certainly didn't do any of the tourist traps. We were at all the local restaurants, eating the local food, and so, you know, I think the one you're referring to might be the live octopus that was chopped up and served on a plate, still squirming.
Oh, yes, I think I've seen that. They put it in soy sauce, and it starts like.
Yeah, I had to have a bit of soju to make it happen.
Yeah.
It was.
How was it?
My motto in life is, you know, you try everything once, and if you like it, try it twice. But I tried it once.
I'll stick to that.
Well said, Jeff. You don't shoot it down with tequila. That's what I would do. Is that insulting?
No. Listen, soju, tequila, whatever was going to take the pain away.
Wow. And but is it? It's not a. It's. I mean, it sounds so naive, this question, but it dies before you eat it.
Yeah, so it's been chopped up. It's just nerves.
Oh my God!
It's still doing that, moving around, and
I couldn't do it. Yeah. I couldn't do it. Che, could you do that?
Yeah, I could do something like that.
Yeah,
I've eaten a lot of weird things.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
I would. And food. It depends. Especially if I'm hungry, I'm like, yeah, let's do this for sure. But I'm really curious in like the. Sorry to like go completely off topic.
No, I don't mind at all.
The data, the information collecting, like what. I know it's used for marketing. That's like a huge thing. We see the ads and stuff pop up all the time. What else is it used for?
So we have Nexology has 3 contracts with the Canadian federal government, and it's used for different agencies within there. One of them being the military, one of them being health and safety, and we can't go into any details on that for obvious reasons. But it's a fantastic tool set that helps them identify potential threats. When Claude and I were marketing, his quick pitch was, we win elections and we find terrorists. And the way I look at it is, the internet is a big haystack, and if you're trying to find one thing in that, it's like finding a needle in the haystack.
Yeah.
So having the tool set that Nexology's created is effectively the magnet to that needle, and it speeds up the process. It crunches through an immense amount of data in seconds, where it would take humans hours or days to do it. Wow. So it's just really it's a tool that really gives corporations and government agencies the ability to act quickly and analyze data quickly.
And it's amazing when you look at some of the terrorist acts that happen, and then you look at their social media accounts. A lot of them were dropping hints or saying, or certain views or certain things that maybe if it was found out. But there's so much crap on the internet, like how do you?
For sure. Well, terror doesn't happen if people don't know about it, right?
Yeah.
So that's why social media is the ideal place for that, for recruitment and for that. If you don't tell people that you've just done something, no one's going to be terrorized.
Right.
So it's a ideal medium for terrorists to create terror, and for groups and agencies to be able to monitor that in real time and be on top of stuff is key. So,
Jeff Stevens from Datametrex. More importantly than terror, can it help Pedro find a date?
That's a real black hole here.
Well, needle in a haystack. There's been few and far between. I'm trying to sound rude. We're a comedy-based program at the end of the day.
Is everyone swiping left?
That's all you got to do. Jeff, it's been fun. I always appreciate you coming by, and really looking forward to the next steps in your growing company. And it's really intriguing stuff. And I just know that, and I sort of stutter when I say this, but I know that it's on the top of so many people's minds, and it's the buzzwords. It's blockchain, it's AI, and it's growing companies, and how you can be a part of growing companies. There's always information out there to do so, and datametrics.com is one of them, and we appreciate working with you.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me again.
And I got to sign up to find out what's going on my social media. I think it'd probably be good for for even comedians and everything. Probably a network of how do you get guys to show, smaller networks. I think could you really use this info too?
Oh, for sure. That's an easy one for us to plug and play. It's already built and to identify sort of core markets that you want to target ads to or stuff like that. That's a small part of what Nexology does, but it's an easy thing for us to do.
Comedians are the worst. The worst. You guys, all of you, every single one of you, and I talked to one a day, 2 a day for the last 4 years. The worst promoters in the world, because you're humbled by it. You're embarrassed by it almost.
Yeah. We're a little self-hatred and hates putting ourselves out there like that. Yeah,
That's the business side. We're about the art. We want to
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah, and when no one sees it, though.
Then it's really ours. Yeah.
We need Datametrex just to find out where your comedy shows are in Nexology.
On the flip side, we're shameless in our promotion and talking to everyone. And hey, DM.v.
No, and I listen. Some will say that Todd Shapiro has zero talent. You'll see that everywhere. You'll probably see that in a forum today. But one thing I have is also great promotion. I think it's really important for a lot of people's success. And then you prove people wrong. You say, look what we've done. And people who were doubters before go, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. See what I did there? Little callback, boys.
Callback.
Bring it right back around.
Sounds like Todd needs a hug.
We're going for a drink after?
That's right.
Well, give me one then. Jeff Stevens. And you're at 123 Marley 123.
That's me.
And a lot of transparency, and you're very, very easy to communicate with. Thank you very much for your time.
The Todd Shapiro Show. Canada Laughs. SiriusXM 168.